everyone, welcome back to Cooking with Miss Joanne. Today we're going to make something fun. So forget about all that healthy food I'm always talking about. Today is one of those times that it's okay to eat something not so healthy. So we are going to be making Oreo dessert. It's great for kids. I used to make it all the time for my kids when they were little. Sometimes I'd use Oreos, sometimes I would just use chocolate cake or brownies. Whatever you have in the house, chocolate chip cookies. Today I'm going to show you how to make Oreos. Make it with Oreos. So let's get started. First thing we're going to mix up is 8 ounces of cream cheese. It's already softened. I put it out on the counter a little while ago because we want it at room temperature. That way it blends nice and smooth. Okay. That was quick. Now I'm going to put half a cup of butter, which is 1 stick. I'm going to put that in. And we'll mix that up nice. So we're going to be using chocolate pudding in this. You can use French vanilla pudding or chocolate pudding. I like it myself. I like it with French vanilla. My boys told me today, no, make it with chocolate. So we're going to be making it with chocolate today. Okay, so after these are mixed, give it a quick little stir around. I want to make sure that it blends evenly. Okay, so now we're going to add in 1 cup of powdered sugar. It's going to add a little sweetness to this mix. Might get a little, whenever you add like flour or powder, always start it off low because it shoots all over the place. That's pretty good. We just want to get it. We don't want to over mix it. Okay, so now I'm going to add my pudding. So I just took 2 boxes of Jello pudding and I mixed that up earlier with milk. Like I said, you can use chocolate or you can use French vanilla. So we are using chocolate. I'm going to now pour that right into this mixture. And then we're going to mix this up. So if you're at home one day and you thought, oh, let me make that Oreo dessert Miss Joanne made. Oh no, I don't have cream cheese. That's all right. You know what? If you don't have this ingredient, this is one of these recipes that you can kind of play with. So if you don't have the cream cheese and butter, that's fine. You can just use the whipped cream. I'll show you that in a little bit. So now I'm just going to mix this up. So we have the cream cheese, we have the chocolate pudding, and we have the butter in there mixing, and the powdered sugar. Okay. And that's it. We don't want to, again, we don't want to over mix it. There we go. Okay. So now we have our pudding mix. Mix it up a little bit more. Looks like the bottom didn't get completely mixed. So now we're going to fold in some whipped cream, some whipped topping. I always like, when I buy products at the supermarket, I always like to buy name brands unless I know that the store brand is just as good. Whipped topping is one of those things. If you buy Cool Whip, it's like $1 more. The store brand tastes, I think, exactly the same, so that's what I bought. And we are going to put in 8 ounces. Now this is a 16-ounce container, so I'm just going to put about half of it in. Okay, so now I'm going to show you how to fold. So if a recipe calls for folding, they don't mean mix and mix it. They mean fold. What we want to do is gently fold over the ingredients. Whipped topping is whipped with air. That's why it's so fluffy. And we don't want to get rid of that air. We want that air in there. So we're going to just fold over. You dig to the bottom, fold over. If you've ever made a sponge cake, you have to do this. So So anytime a recipe calls for folding, this is what folding is. You're just gently folding over. And you're not going to have it completely mixed. So I'm going to stop there. That's what it looks like. It's kind of marbleized. Okay, so our next ingredient, let me get rid of this stuff. Our next ingredient is the fun stuff. That's the Oreos. So we want to buy a pack of Oreos and we have to smash them. So I took out 20 here. I'm going to put in like another 20, excuse me, like another 5. Let's see. Another 5, 10, that should be good, another 12. So if you have a food processor, that's great. You can put it right in the food processor and chop it up. I don't have one because I don't like to have all those things cluttering up my kitchen. So what I like to do when it says that I have to chop something, I put it in a bag like this and I get a rolling pin. If you don't have a rolling pin, you can just use like a can of vegetables, anything you have. And you just bang it. I do this with nuts too, like if a recipe calls for walnuts. So if you're using a rolling pin, you could even do something like this. Okay, done. Very nice and easy. And I like this, I think really why I like to use this rather than a food processor is because then when I'm done, I just throw the bag away and that's one less thing I have to wash. So I did most of my cookies. I crushed them. I saved 8 here for me just to cut. So what I'm going to do is just kind of cut them into fourths. So 1 cookie into 4 pieces because we want some chunks of cookies in our recipe. Oreos are one of my favorite cookies. I buy them all the time for myself. If I'm buying them just to eat, I usually buy the double stuff because I like that white filling in it. Okay, so now it's time to get our dessert all assembled. This is the fun part. If you have a toddler, they can help you. I was actually going to ask my little grandson to come help us, but they were busy today, so I couldn't. I have this fancy little trifle dish here I'm going to use. If you don't have that, you can use anything. If you have a tin pan, if you have a glass pan, you can use that. If you're having a little get-together with little guys, you can even make individual ones. Use little cups, little clear cups, and that's fun too. So what we're going to do is just layer everything here. So we have our mix. I'm going to pour some of that on the bottom. Spread that around. And now I'm going to get my crumbs. And I'm just going to sprinkle them on. See how easy this is? And I'm going to spread them out a little bit. So because I want some chunks in there, I'm going to throw a couple cookies in. And now I'm going to start again. You just want to make sure that you end up with the crushed cookies on the top. Because that's what's going to make it look like dirt. Okay, here's my next layer. Your little guys will really like this. So now, of course, if you have a little guy without any teeth, we don't want to give him anything with big pieces in it that they have to actually chew. Okay, so our next layer, put some more cookies down. And now I'm going to put the rest of my chunks in. Spread that nice and even. And now I'm going to put my last layer of the pudding mix on. And we want to make sure that we have everything covered. This is really yummy. And the best part about this, you can make it overnight and put it in the refrigerator. And that way the next day, if you're rushing to go somewhere and you have to bring a dessert, guess what? It's already done. Okay. So what that take us, maybe 10 minutes? So now I'm going to finish it with our cookies. And this is going to look like the dirt on top. Spread it around. Now comes the fun part. So, to make it look like real dirt, we get these little gummy worms and we stick them in. Some people like to put the worms all through. I think that's too much candy in there. But your little guy is going to love this when they see all the worms. Now, of course, again, you have to be careful if they're young. You know that they can't eat gummy worms, but older children can. Okay, guys, here's our fancy dessert, Oreo dirt. It's yummy for little guys, and it's, like I said, it's nice and easy. And remember that little tip I gave you about buying name brands. Some name brands are good to buy, but sometimes you can buy the store brand and save a lot of money. So, for my students, tomorrow on Remind, just give me a shout out. Tell me, would you rather have this dessert in French vanilla pudding or made with chocolate pudding? See you next week, everyone.